Low-cost airlines have been around for a pretty long time. Their business model is fairly simple. Bring down fares by charging passengers extra for pretty much everything beyond merely getting them from point A to point B. By utilizing a fleet of identical aircraft, keeping those planes in the air for as long as possible, and squeezing as many passengers as they physically can on board these planes, low-cost airlines have managed to turn a profit. However, the overwhelming majority of routes flown by these low-cost carriers are short haul, which makes sense since passengers are less likely to put up with a crappy onboard experience on longer routes. Extending the low-cost business model to the long-haul market has proven to be one of the greatest, if not the greatest, challenges of commercial aviation. Several airlines, such as the likes of Norwegian, WOW Air, and Thomas Cook, have all gone bankrupt trying to make this model work. But why? If airlines are able to successfully offer cheaper fares for short-haul flights, why can't they do the same for long-haul? Well, for starters, long-haul routes need bigger planes that can fly the distance, and these wide-body jets are a lot more expensive. While the upcoming A321 XLR might change that, historically speaking, and even to a large extent today, long-haul travel has been defined by big and expensive twin-aisle jets. The more popular A350-900 comes with a hefty price tag of well over $300 million. You could get 3 A320s for the same price. Not only that, but loading and unloading a wide-body aircraft with over 300 passengers and all their luggage is pretty time-consuming. Single-aisle planes, on the other hand, have quick turnaround times, allowing low-cost carriers to maximize the amount of time they're in the skies making money. Another major issue is the cost of fuel. On long-haul flights, the cost of fuel increases much faster than the average ticket price. If you're a legacy airline, no big deal. You can easily offset higher fuel costs and even reap huge profits by charging insane premiums for business and first-class cabins. But if you're a low-cost airline, your only option is to lose money. Despite all of this and numerous other logistical challenges, a handful of new airlines have been brave enough to attempt long-haul low-cost flights once again. At first glance, Norse Atlantic seems like just another bold Norway-based startup claiming that it can make the long-haul low-cost model work. Sound familiar? But with fares as low as $99 for a one-way transatlantic trip, it just seems like a recipe for bankruptcy. On top of that, Norse has a lot in common with its failed predecessor Norwegian Air Shuttle. Not only are they both based out of Scandinavia, but they share some of the same executives and even some of the exact same 787 Dreamliners. But Norse's strategy, however, is markedly different. Unlike Norwegian, they didn't spend billions on brand new aircraft. Just like how Ryanair mass ordered 737s immediately after 9/11, Norse took advantage of the COVID downturn to score some amazing deals on used 787s when demand for passenger planes was at an all-time low. That's how they were able to get leases that were less than half of what they cost today. And these leases include power-by-the-hour agreements where Norse doesn't have to pay nearly as much when the 787s aren't in the air, allowing them to significantly lower their operational costs. Secondly, Norse has been a lot more cautious when it comes to expanding their network. You see, in order to deal with much higher fuel costs, Norse and other long-haul LCCs squeeze a lot more passengers onto their 787s. While Virgin Atlantic's cabins carry up to 227 passengers and British Airways' 787 seat only 216, Norse's cabins can accommodate a whopping 340 passengers, which is about as far as you can get without compromising on the seat's quality. Cough cough Frenchby. At any rate, this strategy only really works if the aircraft have a high load factor, which is easier said than done. That's why, unlike Norwegian, which aggressively expanded their route network to include destinations such as Denver and Austin, Norse Atlantic is playing it safe, sticking to only big city point-to-point routes such as Gatwick to JFK, where they know they can easily fill up their 787s. This works pretty well during the summer when there's high travel demand, but what about during off-season? In those months, Norse has tried scaling back their route frequency and chartering the extra 787s to other airlines. Last year, the airline set a world record by landing the largest ever aircraft in Antarctica when it was chartered by a group of scientists. But finding customers for their aircraft during off-season months has proven to be a challenge. Finally, Norse Atlantic has streamlined their operations for long-haul travel by flying exclusively 787s. This means that any one of their pilots can fly any one of their planes, and they don't have to spend extra training pilots to fly different aircraft. By maintaining fleet commonality, Norse can also save money on maintenance costs. But this strategy comes with its downsides as well. Norwegian was able to tap into a much larger customer base by having a short-haul network within Europe. Norse has tried to make up for this by code-sharing with airlines like EasyJet in Europe and Spirit in the US in order to attract more connecting passengers. At the end of the day, the long-haul low-cost model has been tried and failed over and over again, but there are strong signs that Norse Atlantic is on the right track. They've already achieved profitability during the third quarter of last year, despite being a relatively new airline, and they're aiming for full profit by the end of this year, which could realistically happen, considering the record number of passengers that are flying with them. Do you think Norse Atlantic can successfully make the long-haul low-cost model work? Let me know down in the comments below, and as always, if you found this video interesting, subscribe for more.